Hello there YouTube. I've got a question today that I'm going to be answering from beautiful Patreons. Mr. Wesley Evans, who's asked questions before and had them answered on Patreon, asked a very sensible question. How do I solo over chord changes? How do I know what notes to play? I think the actual question was something like, if I've got a chord progression of A minor, D, G, is the correct thing to do to simply play an A minor scale over the whole thing? Or otherwise, if not, what should you do? Great question. Disclaimer, there's no one answer to this question, so I'm going to share with you some ideas, some concepts, and some personal opinions, but there's no one right or wrong way to do this. The most important rule in music is trust your ears. If you think something sounds good, that's what you should do. That is more important than what I tell you. That's more important than what your face-to-face teacher tells you. That's more important than what Jimi Hendrix said in an interview. Whatever, you trust your ears. So if you like how something sounds, that's what you should play. That's more important than any theory, any teacher, whatever. I want to make that super, super clear. So I'm giving some thoughts and opinions, but if you disagree, you should do what you think, because that's what this is all about. Now, this is a kind of complex topic, so I'm going to meander around a little bit, but hopefully there's some useful information here. Okay. Chords have 3 notes. An A minor chord might seem like it doesn't have 3 notes because you're strumming 5, or some people would strum 6 strings. But if you figure out the note names A, E, A, C, E. So even though we played 2 different A notes and 2 different E notes, there was 1 C note. The only notes in there are A notes, C notes, and E notes. There are 3 notes in an A minor chord, A, C, E. Those notes can also be known as an A minor arpeggio. The notes of a chord played one at a time are an arpeggio. So an A minor arpeggio is A, C, E. This can all be built from the scale. So for example, you take an A minor scale, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. If you play the first note, the 3rd note, and the 5th note, which A, I'm going to skip the B because it's the 2nd, I'm going to play the C because it's the 3rd, skip the D because it's the 4th, and play the E because it's the 5th. A, C, E. That's how we make arpeggios. It's actually how we make chords. I've done videos on this before, chord construction. I don't want to get too bogged down in it because I think an endless stream of me just talking A, B, C, D, it gets a bit hectic. So, and also I think it's the kind of topic that can slowly be learnt by kind of evolution. Bit by bit, day by day, we uncover this mystery of how scales, chords, and arpeggios connect. So rather than bore the hell out of you, we're just going to talk about it on a kind of a bit of a surface level today, but I hope it may add to knowledge you already have from me or from elsewhere, and that we can get a few aha moments. There's nothing I love more than when in the comments of my videos someone says, hey, I got this today and it clicked and the light bulb went out and I had an aha moment. So that's what we're always working towards. Now back to the original question, A minor, D, G. Now instantly when I heard the question, because I have learnt my fretboard notes, which I've told you guys to do, and I'm sure I know actually a lot of you are making progress. The notes of a D arpeggio, D, A, D, F sharp. Now there's an F sharp in a D chord. If we go back to the A scale, that note is an F natural. So the A scale has an F natural and the D chord has an F sharp. That to me, in my personal playing style, means that when the chord changes from the A minor to the D, I would not only ditch the A minor scale, I would aim for that F sharp note. There's a piece of musical information because the A note, well, that's another thing that's worth knowing. The D chord has also got an A note in it. So if I'm playing a solo, a lick, a melody, I would definitely use the A note over both. So I might make sure actually that I'm playing the common tone. If 2 chords, one after the other, have at least 1 note the same in both chords, it's called a common tone. I would aim for the common tone while the chord is changing. So there's an A chord going, I'm playing an A note, or I might be bending it or whatever I'm doing. The chord changes to a D. I'm still playing my A note, but now that I know a D chord has D, A, and F sharp, I'm gonna hit that F sharp. I'm gonna aim for that F sharp note. 8 times out of 10, whatever melody or rhythm or lick I'm playing, I will highlight that note. So that's a little tip. Arpeggios are really good. So once again, on a simplified level, and sometimes I give this to my students. So this is the kind of exercise I would give to a student. Let's say an A minor chord. I would say, all right, student. A lot of my students are children, so I'd say, all right, kid. A minor chord. You got 3 notes you're allowed to use: A, C, and E. Let's go. We'll go here. Well, where's a good position here? A. That's an A note. That's a C note. That's an E. Play me solo. You should be able to play some kind of usable melody with only the 3 notes of an arpeggio. And then the chord's going to change to D. Guess what? Hey, student, we're going to do D, F sharp, A, the 3 notes of the D major arpeggio. We'll go, I'm just trying to choose a good position. I'm trying to choose a position that matches where we were before. So I'll do A, D, F sharp. And then in this example, G was the final chord. The notes that make up a G major chord are G, B, and D. As I said before, just don't have time, and you would get bored and turn this video if I explained every step of everything that I'm doing right now. But very, very quickly, G major scale. The notes are G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. Light bulb just went on. There's an F sharp. We talked about F sharps before, so my musical brain is going, okay. F sharp, note to self, and then G. The first note of the G major scale is G. I'm going to skip the second note because I'm going to play the third. I'm going to skip the fourth note and play the fifth to make my G major arpeggio. G, B, D. So G, B, D. That's a really great way to start improvising or start playing over chords, is by restricting yourself simply to the 3 notes of the chord. A minor, D, G, A, C, E, D, F sharp, A, G, B, D. I've got some YouTube lessons on things like scale fragments, I sometimes call them. I like my fragments. I'll give you a quick example of a fragment. So let's say A minor, which we do all the time. I'll do D major because I do A minor all the time. D major, as I said to you, D, F sharp, A. You can begin your creative process with that arpeggio, which is what I would do if I was asked to write some music over the top of this chord progression. But I almost always will put the 4th in the arpeggio. So D, F sharp, A. I'll go D, F sharp, G, A. It's just enough to have a bit of a note to skip across, like a stepping stone. And same with the G, B, D. I'll go G, B, C, D. So, and look, I hope I'm not being boring here. This is sometimes my lessons are a bit more fun, a bit more like let's strum some chords and have a bit of a laugh. Today we're getting a bit more theoretical, but it's important to do that. And I was lucky enough to have great teachers in my high school years. I had really good guitar teachers that taught me these things methodically, and I put the time in. If YouTube is your main source of learning, I'm trying to get you moving forwards at least. So as I said before, G major scale has an F sharp note, just like the D chord has an F sharp note. And even though that F sharp note is not in the G major arpeggio, G, B, D, I would still almost certainly hit that F sharp note when the chords change round to G. So as I said at the start of the lesson, there's no one answer to this. I personally would arpeggiate every chord, but it also doesn't mean I go, oh, A minor, oh great, A minor arpeggio, oh D great, oh D major arpeggio, oh great. Very kind of like, that real kind of like shreddy, jazzy, kind of like really technical playing. No, I wouldn't do that, but I might just, or here's one, okay. Chord changes to D. I couldn't tell you how often I'll just play one note, the D note. Chord changes to G, I'll play a G note. A, D, G. A, D, G. Now I might add in the thirds, A, and it's third, D, and it's third, G, and it's third. Now add the fifth, A, third, fifth, D, third, fifth, G, third, fifth. So you can definitely make music just with the arpeggios. I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. There is so many hours of practice in what I just said, because you can do it in every key. You can take any chord, figure out the scale, figure out the arpeggios, learn them around the neck. This is an ongoing, hopefully lifelong process for all of us. I would hate, whenever someone quits playing guitar, that really, really upsets me, even if I don't know the person. I've never heard them play or anything. You know, we want to do this forever. There's no reason to stop doing this. You take your breaks, you do your work, you do your study, whatever, but you don't stop playing guitar. So this will be a lifelong process of uncovering. I hope you learned something useful, and I thank you for watching. Come and jump on Patreon, where we go into more detail on all these topics, and the Patreons get to choose lesson topics, just like Wesley Evans did today. Thank you, I really appreciate it. Go and practice. I've been practicing, and let's all just have a bit of a laugh and play a bit of guitar. Thank you very much.